You're booking a flight. You search on Tuesday afternoon. The price is $347. You need to think about it. Check your budget. Maybe ask your boss about time off. You close the browser. Wednesday morning, you search again. Same flight, same seat, same airline. The price is now $412. It went up $65 overnight. You didn't wait a week. You didn't wait until the last minute. You waited 12 hours. Thursday, you panic and book it for $429 because you're worried it'll keep going up. Your coworker books the same flight on the same day from her computer. She pays $362. Same flight, same seat, same everything. She paid $67 less than you. You're sitting next to each other on the plane. She paid $362. You paid $429. The person across the aisle paid $298. The person behind you paid $503. Same flight, 5 different prices. Why? Because an algorithm decided what each of you would pay based on your browsing history, your location, your device, your purchase patterns, and 1,000 other data points you don't even know are being tracked. If you've ever felt like prices change every time you look at them, if you've ever wondered why your friend pays less for the exact same thing, if you've ever suspected that companies are watching you and charging you more because they can, you're not paranoid. You're right. This is called dynamic pricing, and it's an algorithm designed to extract the maximum amount of money from you personally. Today, we're going to break down exactly how it works, how much it's costing you, and why it's legal. Let me tell you what this feels like, because if you shop online or use apps for anything, you've experienced this. You need to get across town. You open your rideshare app. The ride is $14. You're about to book it, but you hesitate. You close the app. You open it again 30 seconds later. Now it's $18. You didn't move. The destination didn't change. Demand didn't suddenly spike in 30 seconds. The algorithm saw you close and reopen the app. It interpreted that as desperation or willingness to pay. It raised the price. Or you're buying concert tickets. You see tickets for $75. You click to buy. The site says, another user is looking at these tickets. Complete your purchase now. You rush through checkout. You pay $75 plus $30 in fees. $105 total. Your friend buys tickets to the same show 10 minutes later from a different computer in a different zip code. She pays $59 plus fees, $89 total. You paid $16 more for the same seat because the algorithm profiled you as willing to pay more. Or you're shopping for a TV. You see it on Amazon for $499. You put it in your cart. You wait a day to see if the price drops. It goes up to $549. You panic and buy it. Your neighbor buys the same TV the same day for $479 because he's shopping from a different account, different device, different browsing history. Amazon's algorithm decided you'd pay more. Or you're renting a car. You search on your iPhone. The price is $89 per day. Your partner searches on their Android from a different Wi-Fi network. Same car, same dates, same rental company. $67 per day. The algorithm knows iPhone users tend to have higher incomes. It charges them more. Or you're buying groceries. You're logged into the store's app. You're using digital coupons. The algorithm knows exactly what you buy, when you buy it, how price sensitive you are. It adjusts prices for you specifically. Your neighbor who doesn't use the app sees different prices on the same items. The store is charging each of you what it thinks you'll pay. Here's what makes this feel crazy. You're not imagining it. Prices really do change when you refresh the page. Prices really are different for different people. Prices really do go up when the algorithm senses you're about to buy. This isn't a glitch. This isn't random. This is intentional. Companies have built sophisticated systems to track everything you do online and offline, to profile you, to predict your behavior, and to charge you the maximum price you'll pay before you walk away. and it's completely legal. You have no right to pay the same price as everyone else. You have no right to know why you're being charged more. You have no right to opt out of the surveillance that enables this. You're being watched, profiled, and charged accordingly. And if you're poor, if you're desperate, if you have no alternatives, you pay more. That's the system. That's dynamic pricing. Let me show you the math, because once you understand how much this is costing you, you'll see why this matters. Let's say you're an average consumer making $45,000 per year. You book 2 flights per year. Because of dynamic pricing, you pay an average of $50 more per flight than the lowest price offered for those flights. That's $100 per year. You use rideshare or delivery apps once per week. Surge pricing and dynamic pricing adds an average of $3 per trip. That's $156 per year. You buy products online, groceries, household items, clothes. Dynamic pricing causes you to pay an estimated 5 to 10% more than the lowest price available for those items. On $5,000 of annual purchases, that's $250 to $500 per year. You rent a car twice per year. Dynamic pricing adds $40 per rental. That's $80 per year. You buy event tickets, concerts, sports, a few times per year. Dynamic pricing and dynamic fees add $30 per event on average. Let's say 3 events. That's $90 per year. Add it up. Flights, $100. Rideshare, $156. Online shopping, let's say $300. Car rentals, $80. Event tickets, $90. That's $726 per year you're paying just because algorithms are profiling you and charging you more than they're charging someone else for the same things. Over 10 years, that's $7,260. Over a lifetime, that's $20,000 to $30,000 in extra costs just from dynamic pricing. And that's conservative. Studies suggest that dynamic pricing and personalized pricing can increase what consumers pay by 10 to 25% on average across all categories. If you're spending $20,000 per year on goods and services subject to dynamic pricing, and you're paying 15% more than the lowest prices, that's $3,000 per year, $30,000 over 10 years, $300,000 over a working lifetime. This is not a small thing. This is a massive wealth transfer from consumers, especially poor consumers, to companies using algorithms to price discriminate. Now let's look at who pays the most. Dynamic pricing algorithms are designed to charge people based on their willingness and ability to pay. If the algorithm thinks you're wealthy, it might charge you more because you can afford it. But if the algorithm thinks you're poor and desperate, it also charges you more because you have no alternatives. This is the poverty premium all over again. If you live in a poor neighborhood, grocery apps charge you more because you have fewer stores nearby. You have less mobility. You're captive. If you're searching for flights at the last minute, the algorithm assumes you're desperate, not wealthy. It charges you more. If you're using a budget phone or old device, the algorithm might assume you're price sensitive and show you lower prices. Or it might assume you're poor with no alternatives and charge you more. The algorithm optimizes for profit, and the profit is maximized by charging desperate people as much as they'll pay. There's also the data divide. Wealthy, educated consumers know about dynamic pricing. They use VPNs, they clear cookies, they search in incognito mode, they compare across devices and accounts. They game the system. Poor consumers don't know this is happening. They see a price, they assume it's the price, they pay it. They're being charged more, and they don't even know it's possible to be charged less. The information asymmetry is massive. Companies know everything about you. You know nothing about how they're pricing. That asymmetry is profitable for them and expensive for you. Here's how dynamic pricing works technically, because understanding the mechanism helps you see why it's so pernicious. Companies collect data on you from every interaction. When you visit a website, they track your IP address, your device type, your browser, your operating system, your screen resolution, your location. They track which pages you visit, how long you stay, what you click on, what you put in your cart, what you remove. They track whether you're a new customer or returning. They use cookies to follow you across websites. They buy data from data brokers about your income, your purchasing history, your demographics. They know where you live, what you earn, what you buy. They feed all this data into machine learning algorithms. The algorithms analyze patterns. They learn that people who search on iPhones pay more. They learn that people in certain zip codes are less price sensitive. They learn that people who browse multiple times are more likely to buy, so prices can go up. They learn that people who use certain keywords are desperate, so prices can go up. The algorithm predicts, for each individual customer, the maximum price that customer will pay. Then it shows you that price. This is different from traditional sales and discounts. Traditional pricing is, the item costs $100. We put it on sale for $80. Everyone who buys during the sale pays $80. Dynamic pricing is, the item has no fixed price. We charge each person what we think they'll pay. You pay $100. Your neighbor pays $75. Someone else pays $125. The algorithm decides. And it's updated constantly, in real time. Prices change by the second, based on demand, inventory, competitor prices, and your personal profile. You're not buying a product at a market price. You're being sold to at a personalized price calculated to extract maximum profit from you specifically. Airlines pioneered this. Airline ticket prices have been dynamically priced for decades using yield management systems. The goal is to fill every seat at the highest possible price. An empty seat is lost revenue, so prices drop to fill it. A full flight means high demand, so prices rise. But it's more complex than that. The algorithm looks at who's searching. Business traveler booking last minute on a corporate card? Charge them more. Family booking months in advance comparing prices? Charge them less to lock in the sale. The person sitting next to you might have paid 3 times what you paid, or you might have paid 3 times what they paid. It depends on when you booked, how you booked, and what the algorithm knew about you. Hotels do the same thing. Prices change based on demand, events in the city, weather, and your profile. If you're searching from a luxury hotel Wi-Fi network while traveling, the algorithm might assume you have money and charge more. If you're searching from a residential IP in a wealthy zip code, same thing. Rental cars, same. They know business travelers pay more, so if you're renting Monday through Friday, you pay more than someone renting Friday through Monday. Uber and Lyft use surge pricing, which they claim is just supply and demand. But it's also profiling. The app knows where you are, where you're going, your ride history, your cancellation rate, whether you have other apps installed. It knows how desperate you are. Concert tickets, sports tickets, they're all dynamically priced now. Ticketmaster's algorithm adjusts prices in real time based on demand, but also based on who you are. Your browsing history, your purchase history, your location. Even physical stores are doing this. Digital price tags allow stores to change prices throughout the day. Surge pricing at lunch hour. Higher prices in stores in wealthy neighborhoods. Some stores are experimenting with facial recognition and personalized pricing. The camera scans your face, matches it to a database, estimates your income and purchasing power, adjusts the price on the digital tag. This is not science fiction. This is happening now in pilot programs. Grocery stores are using apps and loyalty programs to track your purchases and personalize prices. The coupon you get is different from the coupon your neighbor gets because the algorithm knows what you'll pay. Here's why this is systemic and not just about savvy shopping. Dynamic pricing is legal. There's no law that says companies have to charge everyone the same price. Price discrimination is allowed in almost all contexts except protected classes like race. But discrimination based on income, location, device, browsing behavior, all legal. Companies argue this is just good business. They're maximizing revenue. They're using technology to optimize pricing. But the effect is that people who can least afford to pay more are often the ones charged more. If you're poor, you live in a poor area, you have limited mobility, you shop at off hours because of your work schedule, you use a budget device, all of these factors feed into the algorithm and often result in higher prices. You're charged more because you have fewer options. The data collection that enables this is also largely unregulated. Companies collect vast amounts of data on you without your meaningful consent. You click I agree on terms of service you don't read because you have no choice if you want to use the service. That agreement gives them the right to track everything and sell your data to brokers. Data brokers compile profiles on hundreds of millions of people and sell that data to anyone who'll pay. Your profile includes your income, your debts, your purchasing history, your health conditions, your political views, your hobbies, your relationships. This data is used to price discriminate against you. And you have almost no ability to see what data exists about you, correct it, or opt out. There's also the lack of transparency. Companies don't tell you that you're being charged more than someone else. They don't tell you why. They don't tell you what data they're using. You have no way to know if the price you're seeing is fair or if you're being gouged. The asymmetry is total. They see everything. You see nothing. This is by design. If consumers knew they were being charged more, they'd be angry. They might shop elsewhere. But if each consumer thinks the price they see is the price, they pay it. The lack of transparency is essential to the business model. Then there's the technological arms race. Consumers who figure out dynamic pricing exists start using countermeasures. VPNs to mask location, incognito mode to prevent tracking, clearing cookies using different devices, shopping from different accounts. Companies respond by developing more sophisticated tracking. Browser fingerprinting that identifies you even without cookies. Cross-device tracking that links your phone, laptop, and tablet. Behavioral analysis that identifies you by how you type and move your mouse. The companies are always ahead because they have unlimited resources and you don't. There's also the Amazon effect. Amazon has trained consumers to check prices constantly because prices change constantly. This creates anxiety and urgency. You see a price. You don't know if it'll be higher or lower tomorrow, so you buy now. The unpredictability benefits Amazon because it pushes people to purchase impulsively. And Amazon's algorithm is one of the most sophisticated. It adjusts prices millions of times per day. The price you see is calculated specifically for you based on your history, your location, your device, your competitors' prices, inventory levels, and 100 other factors. Amazon denies using personal data for pricing, but the technology exists and the incentive is clear. Then there's the expansion to necessities. Dynamic pricing started with airlines and hotels, luxury or discretionary purchases. Now it's spreading to necessities, groceries, gas, utilities. In some states, healthcare, prescription drugs, insurance. When necessities are dynamically priced, it's not about optimizing discretionary spending. It's about extracting maximum money from people who have no choice but to buy. You need food. You need gas. You need medicine. Dynamic pricing on necessities is extraction from captive customers. It's predatory. There's also the surveillance infrastructure. Dynamic pricing requires mass surveillance. Every click, every search, every purchase, every movement tracked and recorded. This data is used to price discriminate, but it's also used for other purposes. To manipulate what you see, to influence your behavior, to predict your actions, to control your choices. Dynamic pricing is part of a larger surveillance capitalism system where you are the product. Your data, your attention, your behavior, all commodified and sold. And the same infrastructure used to charge you more for a flight is used to manipulate your political views, to addict you to apps, to sell you things you don't need. The pricing is one symptom of a much larger problem. So what are you supposed to do? Let's start with individual tactics, knowing these are workarounds, not solutions. First, use tools to detect and avoid dynamic pricing. Shop in incognito or private browsing mode. This prevents some cookie tracking. Use a VPN to mask your location and IP address. This can get you prices for different geographic areas. Clear your cookies and cache regularly. Search from different devices and accounts. Compare prices across platforms and devices. If you see a price on your phone, check it on a laptop from a different network. Sometimes the prices will be different. Second, use price tracking tools. Browser extensions like Honey, Camel for Amazon, others track price history. If you see a price is higher than it was yesterday or last week, wait, it might drop. Or search from a different device or account. Third, book strategically for flights and hotels. Don't search repeatedly for the same flight. The algorithm interprets repeat searches as desperation. Search once, note the price, wait a day, search from a different device or account. Book on certain days. Studies suggest Tuesday and Wednesday often have lower prices, though this changes. Use incognito mode. Use a VPN set to a location with lower prices if you're comfortable with that. For hotels, call the hotel directly instead of booking through an app. Sometimes they'll offer a lower price than the app shows. Fourth, opt out of tracking where possible. This is limited, but some companies offer opt-outs. Adjust your privacy settings on devices and apps. Deny location access. Deny tracking permissions. It won't stop everything, but it reduces the data they have on you. Fifth, use loyalty programs strategically. Some people avoid loyalty programs because they track you. But sometimes the discounts and points outweigh the data collection cost. It depends. If you're going to shop at a store anyway, the program might save you money even if they're tracking you. But if the program encourages you to spend more than you otherwise would, it's a trap. Sixth, pay cash where possible. Cash transactions are anonymous. No tracking, no profiling. Obviously, this doesn't work for online purchases, but for groceries, gas, local shopping, cash protects you from surveillance and dynamic pricing. Seventh, patronize businesses that don't use dynamic pricing. Local stores, small businesses, they often have fixed prices. Support them. Yes, they might not always be cheaper, but you're not being surveilled and gouged. Eighth, share information with others. If you discover a price discrepancy, tell people, post about it. The more consumers know about dynamic pricing, the more we can push back collectively. Ninth, complain to companies. If you notice you're being charged more than someone else for the same thing, contact the company. Demand an explanation. Demand the lower price. Sometimes they'll adjust. Sometimes they won't, but complaints create a record. If enough people complain, it creates pressure. But here's the reality. Individual tactics are insufficient against a system designed to exploit you. Real solutions require regulation and policy change. First, ban personalized pricing on necessities. Food, medicine, utilities, healthcare, these should not be subject to dynamic pricing. Everyone should pay the same price for the same product. Second, require transparency. If companies use dynamic pricing, they should be required to disclose it. This price is personalized for you based on data we've collected. Other customers may see different prices. Let consumers know they're being profiled and discriminated against. Third, regulate data collection. Require explicit, informed consent for tracking. Give consumers the right to see all data collected about them. Correct it and delete it. Limit what data can be collected and sold. Make data brokers illegal. Fourth, ban certain uses of personal data. Even if companies can collect data, ban using it for price discrimination. You can track that I visited your site, but you can't use that to charge me more. Fifth, create a right to the lowest price. If a company offers a product at a certain price to anyone, they must offer it at that price to everyone who asks within a certain time window. No more personalized gouging. Sixth, strengthen antitrust enforcement. Many industries using dynamic pricing are already near monopolies. Airlines, hotels, ticketing, ride-sharing, e-commerce. If there were real competition, consumers could switch to companies that don't price discriminate. But when a few companies control a market, they can all use dynamic pricing and consumers have nowhere to go. Break up monopolies. Seventh, empower consumers with tools. Mandate that price comparison must be easy and accurate. No hiding fees, no bait and switch, no making it hard to compare. Eighth, create public alternatives. Public options for transportation, healthcare, internet, banking, these would force private companies to compete fairly. If there's a public option with transparent, fixed pricing, private companies can't gouge as easily. Ninth, tax surveillance. If companies want to collect data and use it to price discriminate, tax the data collection, make it expensive. Use the revenue to fund consumer protection. 10th, criminal penalties for executives who oversee predatory dynamic pricing. If it's illegal to defraud consumers, and dynamic pricing is a form of fraud through information asymmetry, hold executives accountable. Here's the truth. The algorithm that keeps you broke is not a neutral technology optimizing prices. It's a surveillance and extraction system designed to charge you personally the maximum you'll pay while giving you no information and no power. You're being watched constantly. Every click, every search, every purchase tracked and analyzed. That data is used to profile you, predict your behavior, and charge you more than they charge someone else for the same thing. And the people charged the most are often the people who can least afford it. You're poor, you live in a poor area, you have limited options. The algorithm sees that and charges you more because you have no choice. The wealth transfer is from you to the companies. $700 to $3,000 per year, every year, for your entire life. Tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars extracted through personalized price gouging. You're not imagining that prices are different every time you look. They are. You're not paranoid thinking you're being watched. You are. You're not wrong suspecting you're being charged more than someone else. You probably are. This is by design. This is legal. This is the business model. And it's getting worse. More companies are adopting dynamic pricing. More categories of goods and services. More sophisticated algorithms. More surveillance, less transparency, less power for you, more extraction, unless we demand change. You deserve to pay fair prices based on the actual cost and value of goods and services, not based on how much a surveillance algorithm thinks it can extract from you personally. You deserve transparency. You deserve privacy. You deserve not to be profiled and gouged every time you make a purchase. None of this is radical. This is basic fairness, but basic fairness isn't profitable. Surveillance and extraction are profitable. So companies will keep doing this unless we force them to stop. See it clearly. Name it honestly. Protect yourself where you can with the tools available. But more importantly, demand regulation. Demand privacy. Demand transparency. Demand an end to legalized price discrimination. Because the algorithm isn't keeping you broke by accident. It's designed to keep you broke, and it's working exactly as intended. Fight back.